It's absolutely crazy as you listen to this. She really does just kind of line out what her method is. And there's just a lack of self-awareness here that is just, it's insane. It's actually insane to watch.
They are making a huge mistake by dragging this fight on, according to a legal insider familiar with the case. Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively's plan to throw out the Baldoni lawsuit is falling apart badly, and each new court filing is exposing even more damaging facts. While Blake is smiling for the cameras and showing off her perfect life, the real legal documents are painting a much darker picture. Reynolds' attempt to get the case dismissed does not even address the main accusations, which is opening the door for a much harsher and damaging round of questioning in court. What was once seen as their perfect Hollywood love story is now starting to fall apart in front of everyone. Their polished image is slipping away fast, and the truth hidden behind the glamour is beginning to surface, creating serious trouble for both of them as the legal battle heats up.
Baldoni's alleged to have done is not like one super serious, like the boob grab, right? It's not that. It's these kind of like nefarious things which shouldn't happen in the workplace, but they have to happen over a course of time to meet the legal standard. Now, once this underlying story kind of comes up, her motivations for bringing these quote unquote unlawful things during those stories of them trying to take over the film now give context to his counterclaim. And I believe that it is a huge deal for the judge to see in order for the judge to make a determination. Now, what is very interesting and most people don't kind of understand is that the judges at this stage where they're just like, well, I'm just looking at your guys' complaints. The judge can't really make a credibility finding. He has to assume what is in the complaint is true. So that is why Baldoni's attorneys are like, this doesn't have a shot because of how detailed the complaint by Baldoni is. The judge cannot make an opposite finding because he has to, or she has to make an assumption that everything in that very well-detailed complaint is true, and it just can't happen for Lively the way she wants to.
Blake Lively was recently seen looking very sad at a horse riding event, while her husband Ryan Reynolds struggles with a tough lawsuit. The cracks in their once perfect Hollywood image are starting to show. For years, Blake and Ryan built their reputation as the fun, glamorous couple who seemed to have everything: successful careers, a beautiful family, and a playful online relationship. Their social media exchanges and flawless red carpet looks made them seem untouchable. But now, things look very different. Blake was photographed at a private Hamptons equestrian event, and the pictures show a woman full of worry, not the confident star we usually see on Instagram. Her famous bright smile was missing, replaced by a blank, distant look. Some wonder if this sadness is real, or part of a plan to get sympathy. Body language expert Tammy Novak believes Blake's tense shoulders and distant behavior point to real stress, not acting. Adding to the concern, their usually lively social media pages have gone oddly silent, and when they do post, the content feels staged. Sources say Blake and Ryan have been arguing privately about how to handle the situation, with Blake favoring a quieter approach. Their perfect image is clearly crumbling.
It's absolutely crazy as you listen to this. She really does just kind of line out what her method is. And there's just a lack of self-awareness here that is just, it's insane. It's actually insane to watch.
But I also knew that that wasn't fulfilling for me, that I wanted to be a part of the storytelling, that I wanted to be a part of the narrative, whether that be in the writing, in the costume design, in creating the character. And sometimes I had directors or producers or writers who would welcome that and invite that once they saw that I was able to offer that. And sometimes I would have people who really resented that because they were like, we just hired you to be an actor. Yet when I went in the meetings, I would just seem like I'm just there to be the actor and ready to get the gig. I wouldn't reveal that I actually need to have authorship in order to feel fulfilled. So I think that for them, sometimes that might have felt like a rug pull because you're like, you're trying to assert yourself into something that we didn't hire you to do. And so it was a really strange position to be in because I felt like I don't want to just be an actor. I want to have more authorship. It's just as
While Blake and Ryan work hard to protect their image in the public eye, things are falling apart for them behind the scenes. New court records show a surprising mistake by Reynolds' legal team. They filed a motion asking for the case to be thrown out but completely ignored the real accusations. It's like showing up to defend against a serious charge and talking about something totally unrelated. During a hearing last month, Judge Marissa Tompkins seemed confused, often cutting off Reynolds' lawyer to ask why he wasn't addressing the real issue: the damaging comments Reynolds allegedly made about Baldoni. Instead of answering the accusations of defamation, Reynolds' attorneys focused on minor contract and scheduling problems, which weren't even important to the case. Legal expert Stephanie Rodriguez said it was a major mistake, showing either carelessness or a deliberate attempt to dodge the real problem. Worse, the dismissal request argued Baldoni wasn't harmed, even though his lawsuit clearly explained that Reynolds' alleged remarks caused 3 canceled deals, costing him about $12 million. A studio executive even admitted privately that a project with Baldoni was dropped after hearing Reynolds speak badly about him at an event. To make matters worse, Reynolds' lawyers tried to make it seem like normal creative differences, even though Baldoni's lawsuit says Reynolds' comments were deeply personal and damaging. Entertainment lawyer Daniel Kovat explained that the judge won't just throw out a case because a big star's team refuses to deal with the main accusations. People watching the court said the judge looked more frustrated as the hearing went on. At one point, she even called out Reynolds' lawyer for not directly answering questions. Insiders believe Reynolds seriously underestimated Baldoni and thought his fame would be enough to make the problem go away.
A New York judge will not be deciding for the first time something serious like that. I think there's a possibility that the judge will punt it to the Supreme Court of California for them to make a decision on how to rule on the underlying facts. So let me say it another way. He may punt it going, what do the words mean in this statute? For me, as a judge in New York, with the Supreme Court of California's guidance to analyze these facts. Or what's going to happen is the judge will make a determination doing his best, and that the appellate court, if it gets to that point, in New York, will punt it to the Supreme Court going, hey, did we get it right? And that can delay things for at least 2-3 years, maybe.
Wow, it's interesting. That long.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, there's no exigent circumstance, right? Like, there's no like national security. No one's freedom is being denied. It's a
so
civil
they could
matter.
just stretch
So
this on
possible.
for years.
Yeah,
they probably.
yeah. It's
will.
it's very common where another state is interpreting a sister state's law, where that state goes like, we don't want to get it wrong. You guys tell us what to do. It's very common.
Okay, another question here based on this 47.1 out here. It, by its plain language, does not apply to the defamatory statements made on her behalf by her co-conspirators and agents, the Sloan parties and Reynolds. So does that mean that even if Blake's statements are protected, everyone else is still liable? Yeah. Especially considering the defamatory statements coming from Ryan Reynolds, calling him a actual predator?
Yeah, it's a very good legal distinction. This is very good lawyering by Baldoni's folks in that they're going, listen, even if Lively, let's suppose, we don't think so, but you're arguing that what Lively is saying in her papers is true. I mean, excuse me, what we say Lively is saying in our complaint is true and protected. Well, we have other people involved. We have Ryan Reynolds, and he's not protected by 47.1. So in the worst case scenario, Judge, he's still in for his conduct that is unlawful, and he is not protected under 47.1. It's very good lawyering.
That failed dismissal wasn't just poor planning. It showed Ryan Reynolds' team was acting out of fear. What's even more alarming for them is one single word Ryan casually used during a conversation he assumed was private. His predator. Comment has already sent shockwaves through Hollywood, and now proof of it is sitting in court records. According to people who were there, the moment happened during early planning meetings for The Way Home, a project meant to boost both Reynolds' and Baldoni's careers as serious producers. Ryan apparently became upset when Baldoni picked a cinematographer who had once worked with a controversial figure. A production assistant present at the meeting said Ryan didn't just question the cinematographer. He outright said, "I won't be part of anything linked to predators." The room fell completely silent. Ryan didn't realize how fast those words would spread across Hollywood's private rumor network. Within days, 3 studios contacted Baldoni's team, worried about moving forward on joint projects. Things got worse when Ryan, instead of apologizing, reinforced his stance in private texts, now part of the lawsuit. In one damaging message, he accused Baldoni of knowingly hiring questionable people. As a result, Baldoni lost millions in deals. Reynolds' careless words caused serious, lasting damage.
Now, that would seem damning, but she doesn't really offer really any specifics. She doesn't provide any text. She doesn't tell us who these people are. Just says they don't want to get involved right now, given all the toxic virality out there, and that they will testify if necessary and be part of disclosures, etc., coming up, depositions, what have you. We are going to go through this. It's a lot of pages again, and we're going to go through actually about a couple hours, maybe a little less, 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'll put the link at the end of this. I'll tell you when to click it. Join us live. We're going to read through and go through all of the differences, but I wanted to spotlight some of the major things I noticed. The first thing I noticed is, as I compared it to the last one, a lot of texts were actually removed. This is the new document, as I made a note here, but as you'll notice here, this is the original complaint. As you can see, that first text is still there, but she removed they removed quite a few texts, specifically these right here. I want to show you the ones. Sorry, this is the one I'm trying to show you. The majority of socials are pro Justin, and then they moved on their section. Majority of socials are Justin, but she removed he doesn't realize how lucky he is right now. We need to press on him how effing lucky. The whispering in the ear, the connotations, the JFC, other members feeling uncomfortable watching it. I mean, there's just so much. Now, you'd think these texts would be very important in her new amended complaint, but she's removed them. They're not in this complaint at all now. And part of the reason is probably because Justin revealed the context of these texts, because they did look more nefarious. But the context, if you read the full exchange, shows that Justin's publicists are saying it doesn't even matter if it's not true. And so the context of that exchange shows that they're out there combating lies. And so the fact that Blake removed these texts in the new amended complaint, seemingly not wanting to argue that point, is very telling to me. And it's not the only one. There's another text later on. Here it is on page 44, is comparing. These were all removed as well. That whole exchange. Wow, you really outdid yourself with this piece. That's why you hired me, right? I'm the best. Remember the removing emojis, the fact that this is all out of context.
While Ryan Reynolds' quiet smear campaign traveled through Hollywood, Justin Baldoni stayed completely silent. He made no public statements, didn't post anything on social media, and avoided making any official comments. At first, this confused a lot of people, but insiders now say Baldoni's silence is a smart move that's making Reynolds and Blake Lively even more anxious. A close friend revealed that Baldoni's calm reaction is deeply rooted in his Baha'i beliefs, which focus on patience and letting the truth come out naturally. Instead of fighting back loudly, Baldoni and his team are quietly building a strong legal case. They have gathered over 230 pages of evidence, including statements from 8 people who heard Reynolds' damaging words firsthand. Entertainment lawyer Maria Sanchez, familiar with the case, says Baldoni is focused on winning in court, not online. His steady approach has made Reynolds and Lively look increasingly desperate, staging awkward charity donations and paparazzi setups. As Baldoni stays quiet, industry insiders say his reputation is actually improving. Studio executives are impressed by his dignity and professionalism, with some even starting new projects with him. Meanwhile, Baldoni's legal team, led by Rebecca Gibson, has mapped out exactly how Reynolds' comments cost him business. Every new mistake by Reynolds' side makes Baldoni's case even stronger.
Yeah, so the case is pending in New York, but what Justin is saying is that California's substantive law should apply on this placing somebody in a false light. So California recognizes a claim for damages or for money for placing somebody in a false light. New York doesn't have that same law. What Justin, I think, is correctly saying is that, hey, I'm a California guy. My company, I guess, is California. All these other people are in California. You, New York Times, based in New York, knew that publishing this story would impact me and others in California. So you reached out and touched us in California, so now California law applies.
Interesting. So I guess, because I know previously we talked about how hard this case is, does this give you pause now to think maybe they do have a shot?
Yeah, I think it's extraordinarily difficult to sue a media outlet and be successful. Most of these are done just for press, like, oh, I'm suing the New York Times for all this money, and they end up getting, devastated. Here, I think he has a pathway, and even if it doesn't succeed, meaning he doesn't get to a jury or a jury says, hey, I'm going to give you $1 or something like that, I like that he's exposing this. because we hope that journalists would actually investigate completely. We hope that journalists would give each side a fair chance rather than smearing and destroying one side on partial information, or even worse, because they're biased against that person. So I like that he's exposing this.
All the extra classes and playdates keeping Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively's kids busy aren't just about keeping them distracted. They're also giving the couple valuable time as they prepare for what could turn into one of Hollywood's most embarrassing legal battles. Behind the walls of their mansion, Ryan and Blake are facing the frightening reality of depositions, a legal process where they can't hide behind polished interviews or friendly reporters. If Reynolds' latest legal move fails, he will have to sit through hours of tough questioning under oath, where lying or dodging the truth could have serious consequences. What's making Reynolds' team even more anxious is the huge amount of evidence Justin Baldoni's lawyers have quietly gathered. Sources say there are over 40 pages of detailed questions that will force Reynolds to either confess or risk serious legal trouble. Even worse, Baldoni reportedly has at least 2 audio recordings that completely contradict Reynolds' public version of events. That's why settlement talks have heated up in recent days, despite Ryan's tough public image. Baldoni isn't just asking for money. He wants a full public apology. What started as a private disagreement is now unraveling their picture-perfect image. Whether they settle or not, the real damage to their reputation has already been done. Make sure to like, subscribe to the channel, and share your thoughts in the comments.